Hello, welcome to the Carousel of Conversations. You're in for a real treat. Join us as we take a spin through the past, present, and future of all things Disney. Here, where there's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow just a podcast away. Let the podcast begin.
Okay, I know I say it every week, but this has got to be the most excited I've been about an episode. I am very excited about today's episode. We've got Noah, and then Noah's brother Spencer has joined us. And we are going to talk our favorite topic of all. We're going to talk Star Wars today. If you haven't guessed it by all of our getup. I didn't have a cool mask like them, but
yeah, I'm not very excited for this
the way
episode.
to start an episode.
I'm not very excited. I mean, I feel like I've underwhelmed y'all. I only had the helmet and the lightsaber and the entirely new background and a droid that's moving all the time and a new cup that has a light with it. But, you know, I just don't feel it today.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah. Spencer, I've got in my background as Star Wars, but that's there every week. The Star Wars.
I mean,
picture
I
in the
got background Star Wars too. Oh wait, let me there. You see the little baby Yoda right there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and
Well,
I
this is
got
Spencer.
the Lego set. But
Yeah, there you go.
hello there. Hi.
Hello there. Welcome to the Carousel of Conversations podcast, Spencer.
Pleasure
Seems
to
like
be
the
here.
carousel has finally come around.
Yeah.
Yes. From time to time, we did have a plan to bring on different hosts, especially as life gets busy over the summer, vacations and all that different thing. And so this week was a special topic because it's Revenge of the Sith, or May the 5th. What is it? Revenge of the 5th?
Revenge of
I
the
think
5th.
so.
Is that what they say?
But a lot
Yeah.
of times people have told me that's Revenge of the 6th and not the 5th, and I'm kind of confused on which
Okay.
one we need to celebrate on. Because 6
Yeah.
has like S and
Just celebrate
I.
all of them.
5th has the ITH. So it's like they both have half the word of Sith, and they're both figuring out
Right.
which one they want to be. So I think we should celebrate it on both days. We need an entire Star Wars weekend. We have
That's pretty much the way I celebrate.
Maybe we just split
Exactly.
this into two parts and release the first part on the 5th and the second part on the 6th.
He doesn't like that
Ooh,
idea.
maybe.
He doesn't like that idea. So I'm shaking
We're
his
gonna
head.
try to get it all in one episode, but we might have a few a little bit of a difficult time trying to narrow it down to like an hour episode.
Yeah, listen,
We've
I
already
was-
talked about this.
I was filling out my notes part, and I went through it so quickly. I was slightly embarrassed because I opened it up, and within 5 minutes, I had all 11 answers chosen. And I know Jesslyn is not here with us because she said she would be bored to death during this episode, so we had to find a new host.
Hi.
And you know how we always harp on Jesslyn for choosing more than one item in each category.
No, you didn't.
In one category, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
No.
I have
I
7
wasn't even
different
that
options
bad.
for one of the questions, and I have to formally
Wait.
apologize to Jesslyn. About
Let me look over the questions real quick again because I'm gonna see if I can guess which one that is.
I don't
Ooh,
think you can,
I don't
honestly.
know.
I don't think you can. It's very.
Well, I know it's not the last one. I'm gonna say it's lightsabers.
It's not actually. I only have.
Really?
Oh,
I know,
I
spoiler
only
alert.
have 3. I only have 3 on that one.
I have 2.
oh no! It's gonna be one of those episodes.
I have one
Oh,
where I
this is
have
gonna be awesome.
3, and that's
Okay.
Okay.
that's the farthest I've gotten.
So is 7 a little much? Is that a little overkill?
A little, yeah.
We'll find out.
There's only.
All right, but
yeah.
yeah. Let's go ahead and jump right into the topics because I think this is going to be a long episode. But I'm excited about it.
To continue our theming, let's punch it to the next. To our first question.
This is gonna be a
Good
long
segue.
podcast.
That was the Star Wars reference for anyone not knowing. This is going to be a very geeky episode, by the way. If you couldn't tell already,
very.
if you don't know anything about Star Wars, you're going to be hearing Gleck, Gibbo, and all of his cousins in this episode, okay? We're going to know the family members of Luke Skywalker. It's going to be the most geeky, nerdy thing ever. So if you
Which
are
is
not
why
prepared
I
for
mean, if you
wanna
that,
couldn't
be
tell
here.
by the helmets at the beginning,
and
yeah.
lightsaber. You have a lightsaber behind you, Spencer, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, that's a surprise tool that will help us later.
It's like a Mousecatool.
But let's go ahead and jump into the topics because I know that this is going to be a long episode. So we broke this down into 11 different topics because we couldn't even narrow down the topics for the episode.
I feel like there could have been more, though. There could have been more topics.
I really had a hard time narrowing it down to 11.
Next year.
I was trying to narrow it down to 10, and I was like, I can't take any more out.
Yeah, the ones you picked were very good. I like the ones you picked.
All right, so we're going to jump right in, and we're going to talk about our favorite hero. Since Spencer is our new host for this week, Spencer, why don't you kick us off with your favorite hero from Star Wars?
So my favorite hero from Star Wars, it's kind of basic, but in all the best ways. I mean, and this will play into something I'll say later about favorite movie, but it is, well, you know, just getting right to it, my favorite hero is Luke Skywalker. I mean,
Nice.
From the minute, you know, Dad showed me Star Wars whenever I was 7 years old, I instantly just connected with Luke. And he was he's my childhood hero. And
Yeah.
he's always been my favorite hero. And I have some special things about Luke, but I'll save those for later.
Nice. I do think that Luke was one of the ones that I almost chose because it was the original hero. And then I joked with Noah and said I was going to choose Darth Vader as my favorite hero.
I mean,
I was like, because honestly, he turned out to be a hero in the end.
he did.
so-
I mean, in the beginning, he was a hero, and then he was a hero again. He just had this weird great
He was an
streak in the middle.
accomplice to the murder of millions, but, you know, he was a hero at the end for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. He ended up
Became
being a hero.
Ghost,
I mean,
Yeah.
a ghost person,
exactly.
so that means he was a good person overall. So
Yeah.
that's not what
the
that
real
means, but yeah.
question is, are we counting 7, 8, and 9 as canon? Or
So I don't like to choose fan-made films as canon lore. I only choose things that were made by real, the company.
I mean, the way I look at it is canon is what you choose to make it. And if you love the sequel trilogy, then it is canon. And if you don't
In your
like the
book and no
sequel,
one
and it
else's.
doesn't even have to be the sequel trilogy. Like, there are things non-sequel trilogy that I personally don't consider canon.
yeah. Well,
that's just
Jesslyn would have picked
Preference.
her favorite hero to be Jar Jar Binks and her favorite movie to be probably episode 7. So that's why she's
I
not
agree
a part
halfway
of this
with
episode.
her
Yeah,
as
I was
well. I
about to
like
say,
Jar
yeah,
Jar.
that's why
I
she's not
like
here
Jar
right now.
Jar. Okay, I'm gonna put my hot take out there. I like Jar Jar because without him,
Oh, no.
without him, we wouldn't have any of the movies. Okay,
Let's
He
go
sets
deep into
off
the weeds. Is
everything.
he Darth Jar Jar?
I love Jar Jar.
Hey,
I
to
wish
be
he would have been
fair-
a thing.
Palpatine would never have been emperor had it not been for Jar Jar.
Yeah, Jar Jar is
Yeah.
the one who made everything happen.
Oh my. Well, my favorite hero is definitely got to be the Mandalorian. I almost went with Luke Skywalker, and I debated back and forth about whether or not I was going to pick him. But Mandalorian is honestly my favorite in recent years, I think.
Yeah.
And so, like, I could go with the classic, you know. I loved Ewan McGregor's portrayal of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and so I think that he would have been a good choice as well. But honestly, I had to go with Mando. He's just been my favorite in recent years and something that I would go back and watch 100 times. So I definitely appreciate him for sure.
I'm
No,
surprised.
what was your favorite hero?
Yeah, I'm surprised none of you picked any prequels characters because I chose Anakin. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like
I thought
Anakin's
about
great.
him too.
Anakin was up there.
Because I saw a TikTok earlier, and it was basically saying like everyone was arguing and like being mad at Hayden Christensen for sounding whiny whenever he was like, "Where's my title of master?" But when you watch Clone Wars, this guy's a decorated war hero. Okay, he saved all of the masters of the Jedi Council a handful of times. Like, I kind of think he might deserve that title.
That's what I was. If you take out the Clone Wars, though, would he be your favorite?
Probably not, honestly. I would also choose Padme.
Clone
Padme's a
Wars-
good hero. Like, if you really watch it, Padme's a good hero.
the Clone Wars filled in a lot of gaps for me that were definitely needed, especially between like episodes 2 and 3 of the Star Wars trilogy or the new trilogy. Like you've got to have the Clone Wars for it all to make sense. And for those of you who are passive Star Wars fans and are like, hey, I don't want to watch a cartoon, or hey, I don't want to watch a Disney Plus series.
This is a man's cartoon.
You've got to watch you've got to watch the you've got to watch the Clone Wars. Like Ahsoka, I had a friend of ours who said, I don't understand the Ahsoka series on Disney Plus. I love the storyline. I was like, have you watched the Clone Wars? They're like, yes. I was like, okay, but have you watched Rebels?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I haven't watched Rebels. I was like, to understand Ahsoka, you had to have watched Rebels too.
Right.
Don't discount those. You could skip over Bad Batch, but the rest of them don't skip
Brush
over.
that under the carpet.
And I think the thing about Clone Wars, and I think the thing mainly, I guess, about the prequels is that the story George wanted to tell was so massive and so vast that it couldn't fit into 3 reasonably length movies.
Yeah. Oh no, there's no way you could have done the Clone Wars story even.
But what I'm even saying is like the gaps that the prequels created, where there's like a lot of questions, there's a lot of things where there's not a lot of details about. It's just things are said. Where the Clone Wars expands and it shows what they were talking about.
Oh, 100% agree. Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, to try and keep the podcast moving as best as possible, we have to pick our favorite villain next. Now, this was probably my hardest topic because there's a lot of good villains in the Star Wars universe.
I'm a villain kid too. Like I always rooted for the villains. I still remember one time I was watching the original trilogy. I was like, why do the bad guys never win? Can they catch a break? Like, why do all the heroes gotta win all the time? So yeah, this was the hard one.
Some bad guys technically won in Star Wars, though, in a sense.
Yeah. I kept on being reminded that they did win at Hoth, but they didn't win a giant battle station that they made.
Okay, so Noah, who's your favorite villain?
I chose Director Krennic from Rogue One. And I know that's an odd choice, and Andor, and a little bit of Bad Batch. But, that's besides the point. We rebrush Bad Batch under the rug a little bit. But I liked Krennic because he was a good villain, because you kind of just hated him. From, like, the moment you saw him and how he acted, like, a good villain isn't someone you slightly enjoy or, like, kind of want to know a little more. Krennic, I felt like I kind of hated him the entire time, but I loved that I hated him, mostly because he had Death Troopers. And Death Troopers are my favorite type of Stormtrooper, which should have been one of the suggestions. I'm just saying, RJ, how could you not have a favorite Stormtrooper bracket in here? But
Next year.
Krennic, he's just a good bad guy. If you haven't watched Rogue One, please go watch it. It is very good.
Okay, so I'm going to say there, too, I didn't like Rogue One until Andor came out. Just because the storyline of Rogue One, I didn't care about any of the characters because they did zero character building in that movie. And when they died, it was kind of like, meh. Like
Spoiler.
Wait, you didn't even like the droid?
Spoiler. I really just didn't care about any of them. And that was the thing with the character building until Andor came out and I understood who Cassian was and like I understood the different characters from that show. It was kind of like I just really didn't care about them. And so when they died, like the big ending, that's what happens. I was like, okay, that wasn't that great, And so I didn't enjoy that as much as I should have probably. And so going back now, I want to go back and watch it after this season of Andor is done. Because I'm really enjoying the Andor story.
Andor is incredible.
A lot.
It's very,
I won't
very
spoil season 2, but season 2 has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Like just as good as season 1 was. I came into season 1 of Andor like, okay, I'm just gonna watch it. It seems like a cool story, and like quickly became like,
obsessed.
I don't know who any of these people are, but I love it.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, that's awesome, And so it kept building upon itself to where it's become one of my favorites. But yeah, Noah, Spencer, who's your favorite villain?
This was the hardest one for me. And
I think I agree.
I think I've decided and it's not one that I think people are going to expect, but it is Darth Maul. And the
Okay.
reason I say Darth Maul,
I like Darth Maul.
and what's funny is that Darth Maul was not really a character in the Phantom Menace. He wasn't. He was an antagonist, but he wasn't a character. He just sat there silently, and then he did a couple flips.
Are you saying the entire sentence he had of talking and script he had does not make him a villain? Are you saying that, sir?
No, what I'm saying is that when George and Dave Filoni decided to bring him back in Clone Wars, they created this character who is so fueled by his vengeance and him just wanting to get back at Kenobi. And while you might say that's a one-note character, it shows the dynamic between the two, because their lives were both changed in the Phantom Menace. Obi-Wan lost Qui-Gon, Maul lost his legs. The difference between the two and the reason they are connected is that Obi-Wan learned to move on from what he lost in Qui-Gon. He moved forward.
Yeah.
Maul could never move forward, and he never got over it. And that's why he literally spends his whole life trying to get back at Obi-Wan to the point where in Rebels, and spoiler alert, he dies in Obi-Wan's arms after he spent days wandering the desert trying to find him. And whenever he finally attacks, he instantly falls apart because of his exhaustion. Right. And if you, there are videos where if you really break down that fight, there's even more nuance to it, but I won't go into that.
Yeah.
So we want to sound too nerdy here, guys.
Well, I will also say that the whole planet with like Dathomir and the witches and all that they built in the Clone Wars, and the backstory that they built for Maul is so much more than what you get in Phantom Menace. Like, you almost have to watch that series to really understand who Maul is and like his background, and that he was just basically bred to be a soldier for that. And so it's really cool, some of the backstory and the weeds that they go into in that series, in the Clone Wars series, and then even in Rebels, how they continue that on. But yeah, that was an awesome one. My turn.
It is your turn.
My favorite villain is Grand Admiral Thrawn.
It's a great one.
He is the greatest planner that I've seen for like everything.
He gives you chills.
I can't even. Yeah, like every time he comes on the screen, I'm like, dude, he is scary.
He's menacing. That's his thing. He's not like a huge figure in that way, but just the way he enters a room and the presence he brings in the Rebels TV show and Ahsoka, he just brings this kind of doom and gloom with him wherever he goes, where you're like, once he enters a room, you kind of know he's there and you are kind of scared. And it's just an awesome...
Even just like things. The way they've done his tone of voice and how he's always so like calm and level, even
he's
like
collected.
Or like and like when something you think, haha, the heroes are finally winning, it's like, no, he planned it the whole time. He knew that this was gonna happen, and this is what he planned, and he's like incredibly scary and intimidating, and I feel like if any hero were to honestly go up toe to toe with him, Grand Admiral Thrawn would win. I know he doesn't in the end, but like, still, he's pretty scary.
But the thing is also is that if you read the Legend books, the Timothy Zahn trilogy, so Heir to the Empire, the second one escapes me, and then The Last Command, he's even more like that.
Yeah.
Like, it goes even further, and he is just very meticulous, but he always, like you said, he's always 3 steps ahead of the good guys.
Right.
He a lot of times knows their moves before they've even made them.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what makes him the most scary. Like, Darth Vader was just like, all right, let me kill everybody in my path, type villain. And it was like, okay, that's scary. Or like the Force choke scenes where you've got those scary like temple moments. But like when you consider Grand Admiral Thrawn, you just have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what's coming
Right.
next. And he's like in the shadows making all these moves that you just don't understand. And that's what makes him super scary.
Also,
Anyway, moving on to my.
But before
Oh.
we go on to the next section, I must say, because I'm going to hear everything from Dad if this isn't mentioned. Darth Vader's a good villain, okay?
Oh,
We're
yeah,
just
no.
choosing.
Oh, yeah, we love
we're
Darth
just
Vader.
choosing the most nerdy ones we can, so to be different. Darth Vader and Emperor
No.
Palpatine, great bad guys.
Yeah.
Props to them, but
I would
just
say
saying.
even Darth Vader is more intimidating than Palpatine. and than the
Oh
Emperor.
yeah, Palpatine's just very.
Yeah.
He was smart until the end.
Right, and he was just kind of a background figure. Then 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
We
forget
All right,
Phantoms.
anyway. All right, let's move on to favorite planet. I thought this would be a fun one because
Yeah.
there's so many different planets that they have available in the Star Wars universe. I feel like my favorite, like if I were to kick back, like just relax in a planet, not like Mustafar where you've got like the lava coming
Yeah.
everywhere, but just kick back. I felt like Naboo was the best one for this one.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. It's just Italy.
I feel like even yeah, I feel like even just their ships that they have from Naboo, like the just classy style of structures and like yeah, it is Italy, but it's like it just
Hey,
seems
Italy's
so
Italy.
relaxing compared to like
Italy
a
is
lot of
Italy.
the other planets that are in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them are like ruined by the Empire, and so they're just like they're just like in total shambles and everybody's scrapping for food. I feel like Naboo was the most peaceful planet shown on Star Wars,
Yeah.
other than like Coruscant,
Yeah.
obviously, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be the best, most chill planet. Anyway, what was yours, Noah?
This is the one I had 7 picked out on. Now,
Okay.
these
Speed
are.
run.
I don't think I would live and relax on these ones. These are ones I would like maybe go for a week visit, if I was in the Star Wars universe. And then there's one that I would definitely kick back and relax. Maybe two. Two I would kick back and relax on. So I chose Hoth, the cold planet, Endor, the California redwood planet, Naboo, Italy. One second, my droid's singing to me. And then I also chose Coruscant. Coruscant would be one of the ones I would just kind of kick back and relax and like have a life
Yeah.
there, kind of.
Yeah.
Batu, Galaxy's Edge. That's my other one I would
Yeah.
actually live at. Sullust and Yavin 4. Those are ones I'm like,
Ooh,
I think I
Yavin 4
could
is
go
good.
those places. I think I
Yeah.
could live there.
Yeah, those are all really good options. Oh, Hoth, maybe not so much.
Yeah, I
like,
wouldn't wanna live
cool
there.
to
Hoth seems so
visit.
peaceful. Like it's so cold and
The
windy.
base underground does.
Yes. If you play any of the Battlefronts, the Hoth maps are just beautiful. Okay, just saying.
Oh, that's true.
They're very
Yeah.
pretty.
That's true. Spencer, what was your favorite planet on Star Wars?
I'm surprised this wasn't one of Noah's 7. So whenever I was trying to come up with this one, Endor crossed my mind, and I almost picked
Yeah.
it. But then I was like, if I had to live on any of these planets, where would I want to be? And then
He's
it
gonna
just
say
it
Dagobah.
hit me, Scarif.
Oh yeah, that's a nice one.
Like, it's literally the Bahamas in space.
Yeah, in the Empire State,
you don't
through
get much better than
strategical
that.
planning. Krennic just wanted to kick back and relax. That's what it really
there might
was.
be nuclear fallout. I'm not sure how Death Star explosions work, but I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on to our favorite music score from the Star
This one
Wars
was a hard
universe.
one for me.
Really?
All right,
This one was
Spencer,
easy
what was
for
your
me.
favorite? It was immediate for me. I knew exactly which one. I've listened to this song about 1,000,000 times, and that's not an exaggeration. But Spencer, what was yours?
For me, this was one that I always thought was like, I feel personally like this is one of John Williams' crowning achievements, and that is Across the Stars from Attack of the Clones. This was Anakin and Padme's love theme. And the probably the most prominent time you hear it is right as they're going into the arena on Geonosis, and like John Williams just goes hard with it, and like I've always thought it's one of the prettiest pieces of music I've ever heard.
See, for me, it was Anakin's Revenge.
That's a good one.
Anakin's Revenge is honestly my all-time favorite John Williams song.
That's the song I kick on whenever I'm killing younglings. With like, that's what I just kick back and.
But like, it's one of those songs that I put on when I'm studying, and I just put it on repeat, or like when I'm like doing some work that I need to focus on. That's the song that I put on repeat in the background. It's just one of those scores that's just amazing, and I could listen to it a million times and it'd still not be enough.
Oh, by the way, Noah, speaking of killing younglings, just a little tangent. I went and saw Revenge of the Sith in theaters. And the theater I was in, you could hear some people like quoting some of the meme lines in the background. But there was only one time where somebody actually started clapping. A few people were clapping in the audience. And it was right at the moment where Anakin ignites his lightsaber to kill the younglings.
Oh, no.
And it was at that moment I realized we have failed as a society. So
yes,
I would have done the same, honestly, if in my opinion.
Okay, I've heard though that this is another tangent, but that Hayden Christensen showed up to one of the episode 3 movie like re-releases in theaters in California. He just showed up and borrowed some dude's lightsaber and showed up and went on stage and everything.
He posted a video afterwards, and Hayden Christensen actually signed the lightsaber that he was going to have.
I know,
but it broke, so they asked the fan if they could borrow one of their lightsabers so he could have it on stage.
Coolest
well, he wasn't alone.
But he didn't know Hayden Christensen was going to be the one borrowing it either.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like he did. I was like, dude, that's awesome.
Well, did you see the one where Hayden introduced it, and then all of a sudden he's just like, oh, like red is the best lightsaber color, and then you just hear not so fast Skywalker, and Sam Jackson walks out with his purple lightsaber.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What was your favorite score, Noah?
Okay, so I had 2. I had a redundancy because I thought Spencer was going to choose one of mine, and he did. I love Across the Stars. I do think it's one of the best scores ever made, possibly. And my other one was Yoda's theme from
A
New Hope, or no, not A New Hope, Turn of the Jedi. Empire. Yep, that's the one. But Yoda's theme is like, it's very attached to me because it was one of the first songs I ever learned on piano, like fully. And I don't know, I think that's kind of one of the things of it. But it's also just a beautiful piece. Like, I don't know. It's very good. I just like it.
All right, so this one was a little complicated for me, this next topic. But I want this to be, and I wasn't specific with you guys before, so I hope you guys did it. Like your favorite movie or TV series type lightsaber. So your favorite like movie or TV series, Disney Plus series, that sort of thing. Not like one you made in
does do video games count?
Yes. Okay. No, I will take video games. Yeah.
Wait, you said the ones that we made don't count? Because that was going to be my first pick. I have the one hanging up right there.
Specified.
It's okay, though, because I brought a backup pick.
Okay. What is your favorite lightsaber? We will start with Noah.
Okay. I chose 3. So they're going to progressively get more like nerdy, and like you really have to know Star Wars to know who this is. So the first one is Yoda's lightsaber. Okay, I like Yoda's lightsaber because it's like this little rinky dinky thing, and it looks like it should be like held by a little baby doll kind of thing. But anyway, my next one is Cal Kestis' lightsaber. I actually own it. It's right here. You see, it's really nice and pretty. It's the one I had at the beginning of the episode. He's from the video game series Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. He's a really cool guy, but his lightsaber, he didn't own that lightsaber that I just showed you. That was his master's, Jaro Tapal's lightsaber, and it was kind of handed down in this weird situation. But I think it's a pretty lightsaber. It used to be double-bladed, so it was like this over here as well, so it was 2 times the size of this one. Very pretty lightsaber. And then the last one I chose, which is probably actually my favorite, is Darth Revan's lightsaber from Knights of the Old Republic. And it's a beautiful saber. Also, special one here. Also Star Killer from. Oh no, I'm blanking. Spencer, what's the name
Force
of?
Unleashed.
Yeah, that's Force Unleashed. From the game Force Unleashed. His lightsaber
Oh,
is
yeah.
very cool because like the area where the kyber crystal is open and like unprotected, and it looks like light. It's so cool. It's very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, those are all good options. Spencer, what's your favorite lightsaber?
Since I can't pick mine that I made at Galaxy's Edge, over here at Galaxy's Edge, I did bring it back up. And it goes back to what I said at the beginning with my favorite hero. Because it is Luke Skywalker's lightsaber.
Nice. I do like his a lot.
So,
Yeah, his is cool.
and for me, so my dad made me watch Star Wars the correct way, which is 4, 5, 6,
4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3.
So
Yeah.
keep in mind that I had watched episodes 4 and 5, and the only lightsaber colors I ever knew were blue and red. So at that moment when Luke Skywalker catches his new lightsaber on the over the Sarlacc pit, and he ignites it, and it was green, and that's my favorite color. And as a kid, I was just like, the lightsaber can be green? And I've always, every time I go back and watch Return of the Jedi, I always get that same feeling that I had when I was a kid, when I was 7 years old, whenever I saw the green lightsaber for the first time. So it's very special to me.
And then Mace Windu with his purple one.
Yeah, and then Sam Jackson was like, hey, can I get a purple one?
Yeah, then it was just like free
Then
for all
Jedi
with the
Temple
colors.
guards with the yellow lightsabers.
Yeah.
Yeah, now everybody gets a lightsaber color.
All right. Mine was a hard choice. I couldn't decide. I kind of have two as well. Because one, Darth Maul's iteration of the lightsaber the first time it came out was like the coolest, where it was the double-sided. And I remember watching that in theaters and thinking to myself, like, I want that lightsaber. As a kid, like, that was like the lightsaber you wanted. It was the coolest one you had ever seen. But I also really love Ezra Bridgers from Rebels.
That's a cool one.
His first
Because
one or his
he
second
ends
one?
up turning it, his second one, where he turns it into a like blaster and a lightsaber all in one. Like, that was the coolest one that he had.
Wait, that was his first one. That was his first one.
Yeah, that was his first one. Yeah, I liked his first one, where he had the blaster and the lightsaber all mixed
Yeah,
into one.
that was a cool one.
I thought that was just super,
Oh, yeah.
super cool.
Kind of redundant, but
So-
cool.
Yeah, but it's like the first of its kind. I
Yeah.
think that's why I think it was neat.
No, yeah, it's
like,
very neat.
Nobody ever thought to like expand upon it. Like
Yeah.
he was like the first one to be like, hey, why not do both?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that is sweet. So all right, moving on. This has got to be the hardest question. What is your favorite movie? I'm gonna go first and say episode 3. I just feel like that's my favorite movie because I feel like it brings the original trilogy 4, 5, and 6 together with 1, 2, and 3. The scene with Obi-Wan and Anakin, I know, gets a lot of hate because Hayden Christensen, I hate you, type moment.
I have the high ground. Wait,
Yeah.
I have the high ground.
But to me, that was the coolest scene that I'd seen in Star Wars, other than Luke's fight with Darth Vader. But I won't go into the weeds in case that's one of yours. But I feel like episode 3, Mustafar, the introduction of Mustafar and the battle between them. I know it gets a lot of hate, but I really appreciated it and enjoyed that scene. So, yeah, that's got to be my favorite of all time. Noah, what was your favorite movie?
Okay, I like all of them. Okay, I genuinely do. But
What about
one
the
of the
last
ones, those aren't films. Those are little kiddie productions. But I think this one just stands out in my brain the most. And it's Rogue One. Even though you don't like it, RJ, I just have this weird draw to it. Because I think as a child, it was one of my first. It was my first Star Wars movie that I'd seen in theaters. I think because I think it came out before. Did it come out before 7? No.
No,
Okay.
7 was first.
Well, then I watched 7 and then,
Yeah.
but Rogue One I just really remember because I was in the theaters, and we were watching it. It was just me, Mom, and Dad. Spencer had gone off somewhere else, and
I was watching it with friends.
Oh yeah, I didn't have those. But we're in the movie and we're watching it, and every 5 minutes Mom goes over to me. Is that Darth Vader? No, Mom. No, it's not. Is that Darth Vader? No, it's not. That's Darth
That
Vader.
would happen if I.
No, it's not.
That would definitely happen if I brought Jocelyn to a Star Wars movie.
Yeah. But again, it has Director Krennic, my favorite bad guy, and it also has the Death Troopers, my favorite stormtrooper, and thank you. It's just one of my favorites. Yeah, that's just all I'm gonna say.
All right, Spencer, what was your favorite movie?
So I think I've already kind of alluded to it. And let me say, like, and I think we could all agree, there's a difference between what we think is the best Star Wars movie and our favorite.
Yeah, I would agree to that.
So
Yeah, 'cause I
can
liked
say,
4.
What'd you say?
But 2 is probably the one I've seen the most. I watched that one over and over again because I was just getting into Star Wars when 2 came out. Like, I watched 1 in theaters. I watched 1, 2, and 3 in theaters. But 2 was the one I watched on repeat. I think so much so that I, like, overloaded myself with it. But 3 was more the, like, I had finally started to realize what the Star Wars universe really was, and that's why it became my favorite. So I agree with you. Like, just because that one's my favorite, it's more a nostalgia favorite, not because it's the best movie. Yeah.
And the reason I
agree.
say that is because mine is Return of the Jedi, which people have regarded as probably not the worst, but the least good of the original trilogy. And I understand
like
the criticism. I understand why they say that, but it's still my favorite. Like I said, the green lightsaber, the attack on the Death Star 2, even the Ewoks. I like the Ewoks. Fight me.
like the Ewoks.
But
I like the Ewoks, too.
yeah,
Death Bears.
I like Return of the Jedi is my favorite.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. All right, moving on. Okay, this one's hard, too. But what's your favorite Disney Plus type series that's been released? So
This was easy for me. This was actually easy.
Mandalorian, like all those series. What was your favorite? Spencer, we're going to go to you first.
This was also easy for me. It's Andor.
Andor, really?
Yeah, like,
So,
I thought about maybe season 7 of the Clone Wars because it is great. But the problem with season 7 of the Clone Wars is that the middle arc is not great. And it really dragged the whole season. Andor has no drag. It is a continuous acceleration into greatness. And me and Noah were talking about it the other day. The prison arc of Andor, without giving spoilers, because if you have not watched that, go watch it.
I just
It
went
is
back
one
and
of the
watched
greatest
season 1 again.
moments in Star Wars.
Yeah, I just went back and watched season 1 before season 2 came out, and I was like, I need to watch this to remember what it was about, and it was just as good the second time around as it was the first time I watched it. So I would agree, like, Andor is one of my favorites, but I still have to give it to Mandalorian for me.
Yeah.
Like, there's something about Mandalorian. I will say I like season 1 and 2 better than I like season 3.
Yeah.
And technically season 4, if you consider Boba Fett another season of Mandalorian, which it was.
It was.
But season 1 and 2 of Mandalorian was just fantastic. I feel like the lore that they built in the Clone Wars and in Rebels around Mandalore is what helped make me love Mandalorian so much. Like, if you don't have those two, you really don't get the same sort of effect. But yeah, anyway, that's why it's my favorite. Noah, what's your favorite?
Spencer chose mine. I'm gonna go with Andor too. I think Andor is just too good. Like, the first season is amazing. Like, genuinely one of the best pieces of film in Star Wars. And then season 2 is coming out now, and it is just hit after hit. Like, every episode, I'm on the edge of the couch watching it, and I'm just like, dang, this is good.
We need to have like a whole Andor review episode with us three again, because like, oh man, this season has been so good already, and I'm like, the backstory behind it and the lore without giving anything away, because I don't want to give it away because we didn't do the spoilers thing. But yeah, it's so good. I do love it. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on to our favorite droid. Noah, go ahead and go first.
Gosh, I'm a droid guy. As you can probably see, I got the droid t-shirt on and droid back there. So this was a tough one for me. But I think we'll have to give it to two very special droids to my heart, which is K2SO from Rogue One, again, showing my representation for Rogue One. And I also chose BD1 from the Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor game series that Cal Kestis and his lightsabers in. I'm going to have to give it to that droid too, because if you haven't seen him, one second actually. This is a Lego adaptation of him. He's this little guy. He's just got two little feet. He's super cute. And he's just basically like a little puppy that follows you around everywhere. And he's just absolutely adorable. And I have to give it to them, both of them. Because K2SO is hilarious. Like, every scene he's in, he dominates.
Yeah. All right, Spencer, what's your favorite droid?
This was a hard one for me, because I also love droids, I think. Yeah. I got C-3PO and R2-D2 on my
Classic, yeah.
Funny that I didn't pick them. Which, that's my shout out, because those two are the GOATs. But my first one was, I actually had three. My first one was pit droids. From the Phantom Menace.
Okay.
I love pit droids. They're fun. Second was the both the rest are from Clone Wars, and they're both separatist droids. And it was the super tactical droid from Clone Wars, and they were like the head admirals and generals of the separatists, because I always just thought they were really cool and kind of scary looking a little bit. And then the last one was the complete opposite, and I looked it up just to make sure I had the name right. It's the LEP bunny droid.
Oh yeah,
from Clone Wars, and they were separatist droids. And then they made a cameo, one of them in the Book of Boba Fett, where they actually used a physical puppet for the bunny droid. And I don't know, it looks like a bunny, and then on top of that, and this will be the geekiest I get, is that in the 70s, Marvel Comics created a Star Wars character, and I have his action figure, and it is a green bunny. It's a green humanoid bunny. And his species name was Leppy, and so the droid is LEP as a nod to that.
That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's my most out there trivia that I found one day.
I mean, obviously, as Spencer said, the classic R2-D2 and C-3PO are always going to be my favorite. But I don't know, for some reason, I really love Chopper from Rebels.
Oh, yeah, Chopper's awesome.
Chopper's best. He's honorable mention.
Fact, he is a war criminal, like the biggest war criminal of the entire Star Wars trilogy, because he has killed hundreds of thousands of people.
No, it's about 20,000 people.
Oh, 20,000? Still.
But he's so, like, chaotic and, like, funny, and his personality is just, like, hilarious. Every time Chopper comes on, I'm like, we need more Chopper scenes. Like, so, yeah, Chopper is honestly the best droid, in my opinion, as far as, like, personality and stuff like that goes.
Oh, yeah.
I do think, I mean, I loved R2, obviously, growing up. He was my favorite. When they brought out the rockets, and I think it was episode 1, too, it was, like, the coolest cheer that we had in theater was, like, where he shoots up those rockets and starts flying. But, yeah, I still have to stick with my classic, my new favorite, and that's been Chopper for a while.
Oh, yeah.
All right, favorite creature. I had a hard time. I don't know that I love my answer, but I picked a monstrous creature, and that's the Rancor. I don't know why. I just went with classic monster more than anything. I thought it was like a cool creature that they made in the Star Wars universe. and like graphically he's not the best,
No.
but he was the most like intimidating and awesome story that I could think of in the Star Wars like classic universe, I think. So I don't know, I went with Rancor. What'd you go with, Noah?
I kind of went a little bit more unknown with this one, and I chose the Puffer Pig from Rebels. I think he's just
Okay.
kind of a funny thing. I have one in the other room. I wish I would have brought him in, because you don't really know what it looks like until you've seen it, because when you just say Puffer Pig, you really don't know what to expect or what to envision in your head. But yeah, he's this little guy, you know, he waddles around, but when they get spooked, they like puff up like a blowfish, and they kind of just like bounce around and get in everyone's way. They're just really funny,
Yeah.
and they have a great personality, and every scene they're in Rebels is just kind of awesome. And I just enjoyed them a lot, and they make a really funny noise.
Spencer, what was your favorite creature in the Star Wars
Well,
universe?
to build off the Rebels line that Noah had, I have two, and one of them is from Rebels, and that's the Lothcat / Tuca.
I
Yeah.
have one.
And they were always just like a cute, funny little animal in Rebels.
Yeah.
And in Clone Wars briefly. And then they brought them into The Mandalorian and Ahsoka, which made them even more cute. But I would be remiss if I didn't say one of my favorite creatures was my good friend over here. And let me get him real quick. And that is the Kowakian monkey lizard. This guy.
So Lacey's B. Crumb as well as he's known. That was
Yeah,
the
his
one's name.
Well, that was the one in Star Wars. I named
Yeah.
this guy George because he's a monkey and he reminds me of Curious George. So yeah,
Yeah.
So if you're
That's
listening
he's
to
a
us,
little freaky, but I love him anyway.
he's the guy that sits on Jabba's tail in Star Wars. If you don't really know, he's a little hairy monkey guy that like laughs really fun, like really weird at people.
Yep. All right, this one, I keep saying this, but this one was hard for me. And that is your favorite ship in Star Wars, like your favorite spaceship
You know
in
what?
Star Wars.
This one was easy for me. So easy. I had 3 choices.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, it was hard to narrow it down to one for me.
yeah. Same.
All right, let's let Spencer go first. Spencer, go ahead.
I have 2 honorable mentions before I get to my first real pick. And the first one, this one was 3 for me as well. The first one is Millennium Falcon. I mean, come on now. Like, if it wasn't going to be mentioned, and I don't know what you guys picked, but it has to be mentioned. Second, and RJ, you'll know that I like this because it is the Star Speeder 1000 from Star Tours. And the reason RJ knows it is because he went to Disney World recently and I texted him and said, hey, there's a new Star Speeder toy. Can you buy it for me and I'll pay you back?
And of course I did.
Oh yeah, it's up on my bookshelf right now. So that's my honorable mention. And then to keep the Rebels theme going, it is the Ghost is my favorite ship. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a
the Ghost
big
is
old
cool.
ship. I got a model of it down here. And then it's got a small ship in the very back, which is I always thought was so cool.
I had to go classic, and I did go Millennium Falcon.
Oh, good.
It's you can't think of Star Wars without thinking of the Millennium Falcon.
No.
Like, it is the classic in almost every movie. Is it in every movie?
Is it in the prequels or all
Maybe.
the prequels?
Yeah.
The Falcon made a cameo in episode 3.
Yeah, it made a cameo in episode. I don't think it's in 1 and 2.
No.
Okay.
It's not.
Not 1 and
Okay.
2, right? But like, you really can't think of Star Wars without thinking of
No.
the Millennium Falcon. It's like the classic. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to go Millennium Falcon all day and say that that's my favorite ship.
That's a good choice.
Although, like, I really like the Razor Crest too.
Mm.
I think that that's a good choice
Yeah, that's
as
a good
well.
choice.
And then I think Ghost is also a good choice too from Rebels. I'm starting to realize that I really love Rebels
Yeah.
a lot. Like, I just saw it maybe a few years ago because I was late to the party, and I think Rebels is one of my favorite series.
It is pretty
It's good.
Yeah. All right. No, what was your favorite ship?
So
Your favorite 3?
yeah, my 3. Spencer stole one of my choices, which is the Star Speeder 1000 and 3000. I can't choose between the two. One of them is a white, and then one of them's red. I love both models. Was it the 1000 that was the first one, and then they changed it to the 3000 when they did story.
3000 was first.
Was it 3000 first and then 1000? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Anyway, yeah, I love both of those. They're the ones in Star Tours. That's one of my favorite, attractions in all of Walt Disney World, as I've said before. But my 2 other ones are kind of different, and one of them you guys definitely don't know, and one of them is going to be interesting. The interesting one is a Star Destroyer. I think a Star Destroyer is one of the best ships in Star Wars, not because it's like something I could actually have or like fly or anything. You need like 1,000 people or plus to fly that thing. But it's just such a cool ship and design. Like, you don't really think about it, but like it's basically a city in space. Like, it has cafeterias, it has, barracks and all the things you need to house an army, and it's really interesting when you like see the actual diorama of that. And then I also chose from, again, the Jedi series Survivor and Fallen Order, Cal Kestis's ship, the Mantis, is as it's called. It's a very unique design. It's almost like a space yacht, if that's how I could describe it. It's very unique. You'd have to look it up. But yeah, it's just very, very cool. That game has a chokehold on me. But yeah, those are my top 3.
I'm surprised none of us picked the Death Star.
None of us picked any like starfighters. It was all like freighters.
Okay, TIE Defender and Y-Wing.
X-Wing.
No, X-Wing's stupid.
I like
I'm
that
just kidding.
X-Wing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, and we're going to finish it off with a Disney World type ride. And what is your favorite Disney World attraction? I probably am going to guess that we all have the same one for this one, but I might be surprised. All right, Noah, what's your favorite?
So mine ties in with the last section, and I'm going to say Star Tours is my favorite Star Wars attraction.
See?
But I slashed it with the one you're thinking of, and it's Rise of Resistance as well. Those are my 2 favorites.
Spencer, what's yours?
Rise of the Resistance is one of the most technologically advanced rides Disney has ever produced, with the different show buildings, like the pre-shows, the different ride systems that go into it. It is a technical marvel, but it's broken half the time, which is why it is not my favorite. True. And my actual favorite is also Star Tours. It is just the ride that I can always go back to. And it's been my favorite since we went to Disney whenever I was 5 years old. So it just has a special place in my heart.
I love Star Tours. My Vertigo does not. I haven't ridden it in years, and I hate that. But like every time I go on it, it doesn't matter what medication I'm on for vertigo. It could be the strongest patch. It could be Dramamine, whatever it is. I cannot go on Star Tours, and it kills me because it is a classic, and I do love it. Rise is probably the most immersive ride I've been on at Disney. As far as when you step into the queue line, like you feel like you're a part of the Star Wars story. And like from the moment you get on, I say it's not even really a ride, like it's a whole storyline.
Yeah, it's an experience, honestly.
Yeah, you get on the first ship, then you're being shuffled in by the
First Order.
Oh, what am I drawing?
No spoilers.
The First Order, and then like you're on the ride, and it's just like every part of that queue line. It doesn't feel like you're waiting for a ride.
No.
It feels like you're a part of a Star Wars story from start to finish. And so that's what makes me love it. I do agree. I've been in line several times where it's broken down, and that's the most devastating thing in the world. But I would still say, even if it wasn't broken down half the time, I still really, really love the ride and the story that it tells and the experience that I have. Well, that was all of our topics. We did a good job. We got through it in less than an hour.
Oh, fun fact. I had a fun fact about Star Tours after when me and Spencer said it was our favorites. Star Tours, when it first opened in Disneyland and Tomorrowland, Disneyland had to stay open for 3 continuous days, 24 hours for 3 days, because Star Tours was so popular, since it was like the first ever. So imagine waiting 72 hours to ride one ride at Disneyland. You have to clear your
that would
entire
be rough.
schedule for that. Like, sorry, boss,
mean,
I'm not
at the
coming into work
time-
today. Oh, what's wrong? I have to ride this ride. I've been in line for 16 hours at this point.
Noah, nobody had a cell phone in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they're
that's
called
true.
Disneyland and just like. Hey, they had
No,
star
but-
speeders in hyperspace. They had to have a phone somewhere. Come on, like.
Well, okay. Yeah, it was so technologically advanced back then. And the thing that concerns me, which I noticed nobody picked as their favorite, which was Smuggler's Run, which isn't a bad ride by any means. I mean,
It just depends on the group that you get
Yeah.
in with for
Yeah.
that one.
yeah, I always say one time I was riding it single rider, and I see this family of 4 walk up, and they have these 2 little girls, and the little girls are like, "We're gonna fly the spaceship," and then I hear "single rider, you're with them," and I'm like, "Uh-oh."
Oh.
And so literally the whole time I'm going,
It always has the shortest wait
It
time
does.
because it's not that. It's fun if you get with people who do it well and who interact with it. But then you'll get those guests who are like, I didn't realize what I was getting
Yeah.
into, and they'll just sit there like, I'm not doing this. And
But,
so it's
but
like-
I must say, Smuggler's Run might have the best queue in all of Walt Disney World right now.
oh yeah,
Like the queue is amazing. Like the sound of like the radio going back and forth of someone like, is this right? And you hear Hondo come on the other line. He's like, if it's not right, it'll be your head for dinner. And then be like, okay, Hondo, heard that. It's just like, and then they have the speeder area. And my favorite detail in all of Galaxy's Edge, I mean this seriously, is inside Smuggler's Run, the queue. After you go through the pre-show, you walk down this hallway, and they made it, and I know they did. They made it exactly like when you walk onto an airplane, where you have like the metal like on ramp to the airliner that you're going on,
Yeah.
and it has like the floor that like dips down and dips back up because it's like the sheet metal, you know. And they have that exact detail on Smuggler's Run in the queue. So when you're walking down to the Falcon, you're bobbing up and down a little bit because like the sheet metal's like folding under you and stuff. And that is my favorite detail because they make it feel like a spaceport in that way.
see, Noah
Yeah.
takes his
Well, and
flooring
then-
very seriously.
I do take my flooring very seriously.
Well, and then when you get in the actual inside of the Millennium Falcon to be able to see like all those different, like the table where they play the game, or like, you know, those sort of little elements that are in that's what makes it special. But it's one of those rides that I tend to skip more often than not because it's just
Yeah.
not worth the wait unless you get it with like a good group of people that's going to be fun on it.
Yeah.
So
I think my worry is that they're going to try and do what they did to Star Tours to Millennium Falcon, which is good, and make it more random. But I worry about what's that going to do to Star Tours.
Yeah.
Like, is Star Tours going to become irrelevant to the point where, and let's face it, it's already not in the Star Wars land, which, just on a side note, I feel like that, like,
yeah, it was a
planning
mistake.
was
Yeah.
a little off for Hollywood Studios, but that's besides the point. Yeah, I just don't want to lose Star Tours because, as Noah had already said about, you know, the lines when it first opened, I would consider Star Tours to be a classic Disney attraction on the level of Haunted Mansion or Pirates of the Caribbean.
I would agree with that, honestly, but that's because I have personal favoritism and bias.
Well, I think they're trying to add more stuff to Millennium Falcon. Isn't that where they're adding?
The Mando and
Mandalorian
Grogu.
into?
Yeah, they're adding Mando
Yeah.
and Grogu into it.
I
And
think they're trying to make it better.
have you seen the system it's going to be? Because it's very different from Star Tours. Because you're going to be able to choose what planet you go to. So everyone will
that's
go
interesting.
to a certain planet, and then you'll be able to choose to go to Tatooine, Coruscant, Bespin, or Endor, I
Yeah, that's gonna
believe.
be interesting.
Maybe not Endor. I don't know. I know for sure those 3. But you're going to be able to choose to go to any of those 3
Bespin.
planets. Yeah, I said Vesperman. That's Cloud
Oh.
City. It's a beautiful place. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting because in the Star Tours, it's completely randomized. Mostly. When I say completely randomized, I mean there's a 80 to 90% chance you're going to be getting the newest thing they added to it, and none of the older stuff. But yeah, it's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Alrighty, well that's gonna do it for today's
We
episode.
did
Thank
it.
you, Spencer, for joining this week's episode. We appreciate you coming on
Yeah.
and talking
Appreciate you
Star
having
Wars
me.
with us. Yeah, we'll definitely need to have you back for Star Wars and Marvel discussions maybe later on.
Oh, you'll have to get
So
someone
that'll
else
be a
on my
lot of
side.
fun.
I am
Marvel
down.
does not interest me.
Yeah,
I'm
Jesslyn.
not a
It
Marvel
might be
person.
me.
Oh yeah.
It might be me, Spencer, and
I'll get a
Jesslyn.
day off.
Yeah,
Finally.
well, I'll take your spot next time.
No, we appreciate Spencer coming on. Even though he's
anytime.
Noah's brother, you know, we still appreciate him. We didn't drag him kicking and screaming.
That's what I'm
No,
saying.
we
it's
appreciate him
fun.
coming on and chatting with us. Yeah, for sure. All right, and yeah, that's gonna do
All
it for
right.
today's episode.
Is that
We're
it?
still gonna play Jesslyn's intro and outro, so
wait.
she's still gonna be a part of this episode. Yep, gotta end it.
Ready to
with the
go.
Hey, I
mask.
thought you said you didn't like those movies.
It was the only thing they had.
All right, and now we are not going to switch to the same pre-recorded message we played last week.
Hey, somebody say may the force be with you.
May something.
May the fourth be with you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our show. Before you go, please don't forget to gather your belongings and head over to our email at carouselpod@gmail.com to ask us your questions. Oh, and wouldn't you believe it? You can now bring the magical sense of vacation right into your home. Check out the Magic Candle Company and use our exclusive link with the code CarouselPod at checkout to get 15% off your order. And don't forget, we're here to help you plan your future Disney trips. Just send us a message at rj@famvia.com. Until next time, we'll see you in a great, big, beautiful week.